Hello Virgo, welcome to your monthly forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh and we're going to take a look at the energy for December 2023. This forecast will help you out with the next 6 to 8 weeks. We'll get into the Celtic Cross in just a moment, but first we're going to start with channeled messages. Just a quick reminder before we get into that, you can always use this for Sun, Rising Moon, and Venus. All right, let's talk about those channeled messages. So part of the way that I tap into energy for each sign is I basically set an intention to receive messages in dreams. Today it was really specific. Let's talk about the first bullet. And this was really focusing both figuratively and literally on the shoulder. So Spirit was showing me the musculature and even the bones here. At a point I was like, I think I've seen enough because it was like one of those illustrations in a textbook and I was seeing beneath the skin. So afterwards I thought, all right, what would this sort of connect to in tarot? And the 10 of Wands came to me almost immediately because you can see the person hunched over. Sometimes when you're carrying an emotional sort of burden, this could be the grief or loss of someone. This could be pressure even that you have to, make everybody happy, or maybe you are carrying a financial burden to support a lot of people. So that kind of energy can build up. And sometimes we do this, we kind of tense up our shoulders or our neck. So you may be feeling it here and here. Standard disclaimer always applies here. I'm looking at energy, but I was shown this, I'm a medium. So for those of you that are picking up on that same thing in your life, please take care of yourself, okay? They could be part physical, it could be part emotional. So you're gonna have to probably work on both energies there. If you are in a job where you do heavy lifting, construction, or maybe you're moving, this is also just a reminder not to overdo it, all right? So take a deep breath, let go of some stuff, delegate, basically say no to things that aren't necessary because you're really close to finishing something, you're really close to getting something done, and I'd like you to be able to see it to the finish line. The other thing here is that sometimes there's a feeling of control or perfectionist tendencies here where you have to do it all yourself because you're the only person that can get it done. Well, if you keep doing something, that's true, but this is opening up the doorway for some of you to train, to trust, to empower others around you to carry some of the load for you. So if you're going through something physical, work with a doctor. If you're about to do something physical, take care of yourself and don't overdo it. And if you're carrying a burden, an energetic, an emotional, or even just sort of like a lot's on your plate, whatever the burden is, this is a chance to lighten the load so that you can make it to the finish line and do something great after that, okay? And that's what I basically picked up on here. Take care of yourselves. The next message, interestingly enough, also has to do with movement, but this is more about travel itineraries, and for those of you that might actually be moving, like in or out of a house or apartment. I was looking specifically at logistics and even more specifically at cancellation policies for things that you have booked. So let's break this down. First, I'm going to go with those of you that are moving in or moving out. Again, it could be in or out of a house or apartment. The same rules apply here. So I saw that there was a need to either reschedule or cancel. Particularly, it looked like it was the movers, but it could be an installation of something, etc. Make sure you're making the window here of notice, because if not, I saw extra fees adding up. So read the fine print, know what the cancellation or rescheduling windows are, and be prepared there. For those of you that are traveling, this can also work for that. So traveling for work or for pleasure, there may be a need to deal with, someone could cancel on you. So maybe you booked a hotel room or you booked a complicated itinerary with a couple of connections. One of those planes could be delayed or canceled. One of the rooms could be overbooked. So what you want to do is make sure that you have travel insurance and there's a plan B in place just in case there's a delay. Pad your overall budget with a little bit of extra contingency to deal with those sorts of things, and make sure that your trip and your itinerary isn't booked so tight that one delay is going to have this sort of domino effect. Give yourself a little more time between destinations. And I think if you do that, then you will be more than prepared for whatever might be coming through. Sometimes just the act of preparing can help you completely avoid whatever I saw there. The reservation piece is actually interesting because if you think of what that word means, it can also mean concerns. I have reservations. I have concerns about doing this. So if you're not ready to move forward on something, then wait, because the delay or the cancellation that I saw could have been internal, and you can avoid extra costs and fees. Make sure you're really, really ready before signing on the dotted line, whatever it is. Especially for those of you, as I'm saying this, that might be thinking of moving for work, like a job transfer, or you're thinking of quitting a job and going somewhere else. Just make sure it's what you want and you're completely ready and you've done all of these sort of research. Because once you're there, it's easy. It feels good. Take it from me, I've quit a few jobs in my lifetime. When I'm really, really ready, nobody can talk me out of it, and I know that I'm doing the right thing. But if you're not there, then you want to get there emotionally so that you feel good about making that first move in the right direction. Take one step at a time. That's why I featured the Fool on this one. And I think as long as you are slow and aware of your surroundings and aware of your own reservations internally, then you're going to be able to thrive in whatever period of change or movement might be coming through. Finally, and most importantly here, I was shown basically a need to verify or validate authenticity. So we'll first talk about items. If you're purchasing something on an online auction like eBay, make sure you're getting the real McCoy. If you are also kind of dealing with a person, make sure that they are who they say they are. And then, because we're in an age of social media, make sure that you're dealing with the right representation for a brand, for instance. So I saw that there may be a middleman or there may be a lack of authenticity, and it's not just about being your authentic self. It's about, like, legitimately, it could be someone pretending to be someone they're not. So double check. Look for verification badges online. Look for official websites. Don't click on things that don't look official. Always call, like, the main numbers if you're in doubt, and that's going to save you a lot of time and energy down the road. Of course, there can be just a call for you to be more yourself. If you have to deny who you are to appease other people, then it's not worth it, because happiness is at stake, right? So I featured two of the cards that represent things behind the scenes. The Moon card is someone sneaking around. More likely than not, your third eye is open, you're going to pick up on it. Seven of Swords can be a little trickier, but if you ask questions, if you take your time, there's a common theme here of not rushing. Take your time, one step at a time, really do the homework. I think you'll be able to deal with whatever this is. At the end of the day, because we have the Seven of Swords there, this is also just an encouragement to keep the promises that you make and hold others to the same. And as long as you do that, again, I feel like you've got this under control. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the cards and see what's coming through for December. See, we got two there at the end. Okay, let's go ahead and begin with your Catalyst card. Catalysts help you create the necessary action in your life. I'm just checking to make sure that we only have one here as well. We have Shiva coming through, karmic release. That's great here. The end of a cycle, debts are paid, choose your destiny. So that 10 of Wands energy that I was picking up on, the shouldering energy, like shouldering a burden, this is your chance possibly to break some of that, the perfectionist tendencies, all of those things that were coming through with this particular part of the body. It's a chance for you to release. So are you ready to let it go? Are you ready to move forward? If so, this is the month where you can really make a difference. This could also represent a relationship where if there was a lot of pressure, because the Ten of Wands can be someone that's pushy in your life, this is a chance for you to stand up for yourself, to find your power, to basically walk a different path. The most important thing is what we see at the bottom there. Paying your debts, keeping your promises, like we talked about. It's a great way to get rid of Seven of Swords energy. And the choice is yours. Ultimately, this is a message of empowerment, and it's saying, for the first time in a while, this is maybe just a decision that you have to make based on your heart. There's not someone out there that can tell you exactly how to do it, when to do it, etc. The next step is based on what you feel inside. All right, let's look at the cards here. We're going to start off with your centermost card. It is the Six of Swords, and crossing it is a block. This could be a mental block around this, but let's talk about the Six of Swords first. As always, the Six of Swords is a representation of movement. Before moving, though, this is basically like a GPS check-in. Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? To me, it looks like someone that's cracking open a book or a suitcase, and they're looking through for maybe a map, maybe a sign, maybe a signal. This is about investigating, doing your homework, searching those internal reservations or hesitations before you decide to move forward. A necessary step. So I like that as step one. Step two, we can get from the traditional illustration. It's basically a question of leadership. Are you ready to lead the charge? Because you're ostensibly the one that is steering the ship here. And as we saw with your catalyst, it basically said here, choose your destiny, choose your path, take the step in that direction. But there has to be peace with the decision in order to get the movement started. So there's a little bit of soul searching. That's really what this Six of Swords is about. Take time this month to search internally. Take time to research externally. Talk to other people. Take time to change your environment. Sometimes you have to get out of a space in order to clear your head, to clear your mind. This will then help you move on to whatever it is that's awaiting you in on the other side of the shore. All right, what's crossing this card? Limiting thoughts, limiting people. Because you have expansion on either side here with the Three of Pentacles and the Sun. So we want to move past this. This is, in relationships, this is someone who puts conditions on acceptance or love. If we look at the traditional card, we can see it in both. But in the traditional card, we see chains here, and we see someone that's very much my way or the highway, right? And then in this one, we see that you could actually be caught up in someone else's web, and that could be a web of fear or anxiety, or maybe they're trying to bring you into a secret. The main thing here is that you're going to rise above this. This particular devil card has the heart on the stake. I want you to follow your heart. Nobody should basically kind of have your heart on a string and have conditions on their love for you. So if you're in a situation where you're not allowed to be yourself, where someone wishes you were more like someone else so that they could accept you or love you, etc., time to move beyond that. Other things that the devil represents: a contract that is not acceptable, in which case it's time to move in a different direction. If somebody is trying to get you to sign away too much rights, or trying to get you to sign to something where you're not receiving enough credit or support, that's too much of a sort of issue to have on your shoulders. That's why I was seeing that. You shouldn't have to shoulder that debt or that burden. This is a time for you to just say, thank you, no thank you. I'm going to look for something bigger and better than that, okay? You're reconnecting with your power. Shiva is a god of ends and beginnings, so the death card would be connected to this. And there may be something that just doesn't serve a purpose in your life, whether it is a relationship or a job or a habit or something that you've been doing. It's just time to move in a new direction. So this person or this thought is the only thing that is standing in your way. When you're ready to move past that, things start to happen. Karmically and in the deep past, what you've been working on is finding your voice. The Queen of Swords is one of the most outspoken cards, doubly so when she's reversed. In the reverse state, there's basically no question where someone stands when you pull this card. It's an encouragement to say no without apologies when you need to say no. It's also a chance for you to just ask exactly the right question at exactly the right time. And there are times where you just don't want to waste words. You don't want to beat around the bush. You just want to get into exactly what you need to say. So for those of you that have been working on finding your voice, good for you. Keep it up, and it's going to serve you well this month. The only thing to be mindful of with the Queen of Swords in the reverse state is tact and empathy. Sometimes she comes across as a little harsh. She might speak up when it's not the right time, or she may put too much critical stuff before some positive stuff. You need to find a balance here. Constructive energy in communication is so important. So if critical, it has to be constructively critical, and you have to give someone a way to fix it. You can't just say that it's bad, right? So finding that happy balance is going to be important for you. If there's someone in your life, this can be the same person, a boss or a parent, and if they are constantly critical and they say things that make you feel less than, obviously this is about finding some distance, some separation from that, and allowing yourself to get back into a place of confidence. Let's move now into the recent past, where we see the Three of Pentacles. And if we look at the traditional illustration for this, we have someone that's building something exactly to spec, where in this reimagined version, they're spray painting on the wall, and it's kind of a rebellious energy. I like that we're seeing people playing to two different audiences, more youthful, more sort of rebellious, more traditional. This is a reminder that you want to make sure that what you're saying and what you're doing is tuned in to whoever is there. So for those of you that are job seeking, you may have to have more than one cover letter or resume or portfolio site. For those of you that are in a public speaking capacity, a speech that you would give to investors is different than something that you would give to coworkers or to higher ups, so you're obviously going to make sure that the message meets the audience. There's also an educational vibe with this. So if you're thinking of going back to school, getting training, all of that is encouraged with this. What we also see is two different reasons for doing it. This one is more for recognition. This is for the sake of art or change. There's no right or wrong answer. Typically, whenever this comes through, you'll eventually be recognized for the work you're doing. It's basically saying, keep working hard, don't give up, and don't lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing. This can also be writing for different purposes. It's not just creative writing. It could be a curriculum. It could be a document that other people are going to be able to look at and learn from. So there can be an educational quality, not just an entertainment one to that. Let's look at the second roadblock. So the first roadblock this month for some of you could be a person that's afraid of letting go, or a person that tries to get you wrapped up. It can also be a limiting thought that you have. That limiting thought can also be accentuated by feelings. Here we have fear. Nine of Swords is typically going to a worst case scenario and thinking, oh my gosh, well, what if this happens and this happens? Or what if they say this? Well, what if it goes better than you think? I always like to flip it around. Prepare for both the most challenging and the most beneficial and happy outcomes. And in doing so, you'll be able to get yourself more in a balanced space. Nine of Swords is absolutely about stress management and sleep quality. So anything that in your life that kind of constitutes stress management, it could be, dancing, it could be talking to a therapist, it could be gardening or hiking or swimming or some other social activity. Whatever you can do to create better balance and to be able to talk about how you feel with a non-judgmental audience, that's a perfect thing to do. Also making sure that you're not burning the candle at both ends, because what follows this? The Ten of Swords. So if you are up late at night, stressing out and not getting sleep, then you get sick. That's the Ten of Swords. It's not just arguments. It can kind of be, your body just saying enough is enough. And as I was mentioning earlier, that Ten of Wands energy of carrying too much of an emotional burden, that could definitely be adding to some of the stress. So remember to ask for help, remember to delegate, and know that you don't have to do this all on your own. I love what we see here, the Sun card. Even when it's reversed, it's still a very positive message. The first and the easiest message to pull out of a reverse Sun is that it's just time to let something go. Because typically we see a child on this card and it's about birthing or releasing or announcing something. So for those of you that were looking for a period to basically announce or make a splash, this is the time to do so. The Sun is also the inner child. So for those of you that have been spending a lot of time, possibly even taking care of others, the Sun reverse could be your children or your spouse or someone that you care about. The caretakers especially, what are you doing to take care of yourself? It's okay. This is the near future. The next step in your success is self-care, is letting go, and is turning your light bulb on maximum. And by doing that, you could be pulling in love. The Morgan Greer deck features lovers on this, and so does the Sun. So this is a much more elevated version of this, because we see the lovers again, but now they're free of whatever that is. Limiting thoughts, limiting people. So this is a chance to be free and to find other people that see you for who you are. Don't feel like you have to stay in a certain situation just because it's there and you're afraid that that might be all that there is. This is saying there's an upgrade. It could be a work relationship. It could be a personal relationship. It could also just be you holding back and saying, I really want to do this, but I'm afraid what people will think. Let go of the fear and just go into the joy of being. And that's what's key here, okay? There could be an unexpected partnership on the horizon when you're least prepared or least expecting it, but it's nonetheless really wonderful, okay? So birthing, releasing, and then basically being as authentic as possible and doing something for yourself. This and this is going back to school or training or learning something, okay? Now let's take a look at how you're showing up. Getting clear, if I had to put 2 words to it, you're starting to clarify what your goal or vision is, but it could be fogged up a little bit by someone else's energy, and that's coming through a couple of times here. So here we see the lovers caught in the web of the devil. Here we see 2 people in love, but they're kind of really submerged, especially with this reversed. And it's about making sure that you know where your energy ends and someone else's begins. This is especially true if you're around someone who's a little stressed out or dealing with grief or anxiety. And again, it could be children, it could be spouse, it could be coworker. The important thing is having clear boundaries this month. And if you can do that, then you can accomplish just about anything. Here's your traditional 7 of Cups. Here we can see that sometimes there's too many things on the table, too many things on the agenda, too many thoughts in your head. It's actually auspicious when this card is reversed because it means that you're starting to let go of the unnecessary stuff. So there comes a point where you're like, I would love to look at that, but it's not worth the time and energy. Or I hear what you're saying, but I've really thought this through and this is what I want. Getting to the core of what matters to you, letting go of some other people's, thoughts, energies, or concerns, and really just focusing on what the heart wants. And that's a common theme again this month. In the environment is the patience energy that I was talking about. I featured the Fool on that one. I could have just as easily put the Temperance Angel. If we zoom in on this particular card, you can see there's 1 foot in the water, there's another on the land, and the angel is basically taking the water and balancing it out. So the first and the most important thing is to be in a neutral place before you make an important decision. Take your time, slow down. It's also weighing all of the options. And what I'm getting from Spirit on this is that if someone in your life says it's my way or the highway, you can actually say there's a third path. It doesn't have to be so black or white, right or wrong. And you already have that kind of rebellious or intuitive energy coming through. Hopes, fears, and opportunities. You have the High Priestess. So she sees a different path. The Sun in reverse. The ability to think of something new and to announce it and to be really confident with that. And the 3 of Pentacles, this is the research that you've done. So this is learned. This is very sort of bold. This is a neutrality, even in that boldness, saying, I know this is unusual, but I've done the work. I've looked at this. It feels like it's the best. Let's have a conversation about it. There's a really strong, powerful energy when you combine all of these. They temper each other into this really powerful vision. And with these 2 cards in the upright position, High Priestess and Ace of Swords, opportunities and outcome, it feels like you can articulate something this month really nicely. So the Sun reversed is unexpected. The timing might be, again, overdue, or it may be even, again, in a way that is not what people had thought. But if you can articulate it and play it out in a way that, or place it in a way that they can make sense of, then you have a chance of getting agreement. So let's look at these last 2 cards here. The sky is the limit when it comes to thinking through new solutions, opening up new doorways. High Priestess energy is so tapped in. So the most important thing this month is to trust your instincts, trust your intuition, and really spend some time, making space for any creative venture, any meditation, anything that you can do to open the door a little bit more to spirit. Some of you might also be working on intuitive development, and this card is just an acknowledgement of that. Speak up. It feels like you found the perfect way to be just clear enough or just outspoken enough, and also listen and be the leader that I know you can be. So the Ace of Swords can be someone finally saying, yeah, okay. I mean, in the upright position, this is an open door. This is something that looks really good. You're opening the door. You're the key. And that's probably the title for this. You've got everything that it takes to be the key to open whatever it is that you want to do, okay? It took us a while to get there, and it may take a moment here to say goodbye to this and goodbye to this, but once you are willing and ready to make that release happen, then things really start to get exciting. Speaking of which, we're going to get into the categories of health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with the energy of health first, which is your mind, body, and spirit. And intelligence comes through here. We have the metal pig, and pigs are a really smart animal. They make amazing pets, and they also just have good problem-solving abilities. But here we have this partnership and collaboration. So intelligence leads the way. When I think of metal, I think of, again, something that can be remolded, or I think of the skeleton key this month. So you may offer something complementary to someone else and vice versa, and together you guys have exactly what it takes to unlock something. So the health thing that is coming through the most this month is reevaluate your partnerships and make sure that they're also clear and clean. One thing that pigs are not is clean. So we really want to clear and clean the karma around relationships. We want to remold or reforge what it is that you're doing possibly in your career or your habits. And we want to focus on the integrity of relationships. One thing that I can see for sure is that people matter this month. We have a codependent or a stagnating relationship here at the center that it looks like you might be moving away from. We have a more playful energy here, but also a partnership coming through. We have a partnership here that may be weighing a lot on you as well. This month, it's about cleaning it all up, clearing it all out a little bit, okay? And it really should be 50-50, collaborative, reciprocated, and you should feel like whoever you're spending your time and energy with, they're your partner. So clean, clear, cognitive. That's what this is bringing forth. Let's now break it down on some other levels here and just see what else is coming through for your general health messages. I think that we have to start off with the devil energy because this is about limits. It could be limits that are placed on us in an environment, like you're not allowed to do something because someone doesn't want you to succeed. It can be someone that doesn't understand you and tries to get you to conform to their standards. It can also be limiting thoughts that you impose upon yourself. Any of these limits are antithetical or opposite to the energy of growth. And so these two cards have to basically even out. So in order to be reborn, in order to be able to have the energy of the sun, you may have to break away from this limit. And again, right underneath it was a Six of Swords. A change of environment. It's really something that you can't put a price tag on, especially if there's toxicity around you. So if you're feeling like you're just not happy where you're at, that's the first thing that's coming through is encouragement from spirit to find a healthy environment to be in. Overly critical thoughts or a lot of stress and fear. These are things that you would have to work with possibly someone else to help you sort out, but this is an important thing for some of you. Stress management, and again, just being a little bit more supportive of yourself. There's a big encouragement here to read and to talk to other people, because in doing so, you may find that a lot of what you're going through has been dealt with before and that you're not alone. So you could find comfort in the company of others because we have so much partnership energy coming through. Intuitive development and spiritual development, something that you can really lean into and get a lot of benefit from this period of time. Most of the things are fairly manageable when I'm looking at health. Of course, we talked earlier about something that came through just from my spiritual connection when I was looking at dreams. So again, not taking on more than you need to is so important. There could be some concentration or focusing issues because the Seven of Cups can be almost like ADHD, but sometimes it's simply because there's too much that you're dealing with, and there's also maybe someone around you that's not helping. So finding some space in your life where you can think, where you can meditate, where you can clear your head. That's probably the most important thing that's coming through with respect to health. Just one last message and then we'll get into wealth. The Sun card has to do with the solar plexus. The reversal of this can have to do with cutting the cords. Again, this could be with a parent or authority figure that is just popping in and basically making unnecessary demands, or there's just not a healthy connection. And so it's okay to clear and clean that, because that was one of the messages this month, is it's okay to end a cycle and to say, you know what, I've done everything that I can there. Okay. Now let's move on to wealth, which is your resources, your life purpose, and your career. We have a really powerful card here, the Scorpion. So in the reverse state, it's about being able to see something. You don't want to step on a scorpion. You don't want to basically get it angry. And I think for many of you, it's understanding that when it comes to work, you don't have to lose your temper. You don't have to say something cruel. You don't have to put up with someone that is cruel or acts kind of in this energy. And this is a chance to just release that karmic cycle. For the rest of you, this is just a symbol of power. A scorpion, like a snake, is really, really powerful. And just like a snake, whether it's a rattlesnake or traditional one, it has the potential to basically go on the attack. But the reversal of this is saying your power is in your peaceful approach. People know that you have the capacity to speak up, to defend yourself, because that's what this represents. But knowing when, if, and how you're going to use that, that's the difference between someone who is a true leader and a true kind of mature adult, and someone who just is kind of like flexing. So this is saying you can show you're powerful with your restraint this month. And that is actually what's going to help you attract other people who know exactly how to be in a functional adult relationship. You shouldn't have to show or flex the power all the time. When I think back to like really great teachers or speakers or people that I've met, they just have a way that they enter the room that is commanding. So really focus on your body, your nonverbal communication, your posture, the tone of your voice. And there's so much that you can do without actually having to do a lot. It's energy. And so that when I think back, I really think a lot of people just have the energy of success. So focus on embodying that feeling of success. All right, let's dig into this a little more. Because this can represent toxicity, as can this, some of you need to move away from that. So if there's a toxic relationship or environment, moving beyond it, common theme this month, especially when it comes to work. Generally, let's just paint with a broad stroke and then I'll go into the different categories. Again, it's not worth the stress. If there's an environment where there's too much stress, not worth it. If it's too critical, not worth it either. I see education being very beneficial for those of you that want to do training or are in a situation where you're learning a lot from it. This is showing that it'll end up paying off in the long run. Let's break this down. If you have a job, if you're looking for a job, or if you're happily not focusing on work at all, this can be unemployed or retired. For those that are currently working, the most important thing for you is to have a healthier schedule, more time to yourself, more time to be creative, more creative power. All the things that I've been talking about weigh into this as well. And so pushing back on unrealistic expectations, I think, is the most important message. If there's someone that tries to get you to do an impossible task, an unethical task, or something that just doesn't make sense, a nonsensical task, you just say no. You can say no or say this doesn't feel right. I think we need to do a little more research on this, or I think there's someone better for this. There's lots of ways you can push it away from you if you need to. You really don't want to get into this energy because it doesn't behoove anybody, especially you, okay? You may be at a full stop wherever you're at, or you may just be on the heels of something where it's like, okay, that's done, but I need a moment to recalibrate. Because anytime you get out of something that was difficult, especially, where it was just energetically, you had to fight with people or you just felt a lot of pressure, if at all possible and you're starting a new job, give yourself a week. If you've been working too much and you've been at a job for a while, you need a vacation, some of you. So giving yourself time for recalibration after getting out of something difficult, whether it's a relationship or another job situation, so important. Pushing back on toxic or unrealistic tasks, also important. Where can you shine this month? Your work is where it's at. People like being around you. They want to know more about what you have to think. There's some people around you are confused. You may feel like you still have a lot to learn, but they're really interested in your opinions. So don't be afraid to speak up. So you have room to grow in current situations as long as you avoid this sort of cobweb at the center. I do think many of you are on a path to get beyond this. And so maybe going back to school, maybe starting your own business, maybe doing something where there's more creative vision or opportunities. All of that's coming through here as well. Okay. One last thing, and then we're going to talk about those that are looking for work. It's really important to use your voice, to find your voice, and to not be afraid to communicate. That is one of the karmic things that is coming through in this current work situation. If you're job seeking, re-entering the market, or you're a student and you're just about ready to graduate, make sure that what you're doing is what you want to do. Don't accept something because it's the only option. Really make sure that it's what feels right. We don't want to enter into some sort of a job situation where devil energy is there, okay? This is a contract that just isn't ideal for you or is something that you just don't want. Listen to your intuition. Try something on your own if you can. And reach out to other people. Networking is really important here. We have a lot of people cards in the Sun and in the Seven of Cups. There's actually love energy coming through. So try networking a little bit before accepting something that just, it's not going to work out. The other thing here is, for some of you, there's an encouragement to do something where your voice, whether it's written or spoken, is a part of this. So journalism, public speaking, possibly even politics, whatever. There's something here where your communication and your vision and your voice really, really matters. Looking beyond the fears of your parents or your own fears are so important. So give it a shot. Let the universe show you just exactly what you can do. And a move may be necessary. So traveling to a different city, state, or province to get the job or land the job may be important. By the way, there are some of you in the current job that don't want to do that, so speak up if that's not what you have in mind. For those that are unemployed, retired, or not worried about work, I actually see education or teaching coming through, so you may be called to be a teacher or a student. I see intuitive development playing a really pivotal role in the next thing here, and connecting with youth. It doesn't have to just be teaching. It could be mentorship for those of you that are retired, or spending more time with your family or grandchildren for sure. The brain never stops working. So just because you're not employed or retired, it doesn't mean that you're not curious. Reading, researching, maybe even auditing a class, there's something really fun that could come from that, including meeting some new people, okay? Speaking of people and relationships, let's move on to love. We have protection coming through on this. So I talked about the importance of boundaries, and it's really, really coming through when it comes to relationships. Protecting yourself, protecting the ones that you love the most, and making sure that when it comes to something new that you feel safe, a new relationship or a new connection. Let's break this down and take a look at 3 different categories. I'm going to start off with those in a current relationship. If you're already in a relationship, the biggest challenge could be distance. We have distance and the devil. So long distance may not work right now, just kind of calling that out. The other thing here could be a truth that comes to the surface. And if you can move through this, then things are great. If you can't, then it's clear that you're probably going to go on a different path. It's a make it or break it thing when the devil is here and the 6 of Swords is beneath it. So you have to speak honestly. You have to speak. Clearly, we have 2 swords cards here. Communication is key. Don't be afraid to talk about what matters the most. Ultimately, there could also be someone from the past that's coming back, an old ex, an old connection. And this could also be just a chance to say no once and for all to that energy if that's not what you want. In a good relationship, I feel like you can deal with any challenge that comes your way. This can also just be something like in health that you don't have control over. So supporting one another and communicating is all you need to do with that. But there is something you've got to talk about, and there are maybe some fears or anxieties that need to be aired out. So really talk about that. Good relationships can weather that, whatever that might be. Ask questions. And remember that you don't have to solve everything for your partner. We see the heaviness of the emotion here. Sometimes just helping them find the help is all you have to do. There could be a new baby coming into the picture, unexpected birth. It could still be a blessing, but you have to talk about that, obviously, if that's part of the landscape as well. All right, for those that are looking for love, make sure that the person that you meet is ready for what you are looking for, whether it is something serious, whether it's a family. Make sure that they are unattached, that they have completely gotten out of the last relationship, that they're not sort of in the midst of a separation or divorce. Make sure that you don't rush into something because there could be some things that they're not ready to talk about yet. So slow and steady. There's a strong attraction if you meet someone new. It could be a Capricorn, by the way. If it's Capricorn, you don't have to worry so much about some of the other stuff that I'm talking about. But I think taking it slow, trusting your instincts here, super important. Some things that seem like you need to focus on them first before you can get into the relationship. If you're neither here nor there, if you're traveling a lot or you need to get out of a job or another relationship, get that sorted first. Some of you are finishing up on a project or educational goal that needs to be sorted out first. And some of you may just not be ready or willing to kind of deal with the intricacies of a new relationship. The timing may be off a little bit. It does look like you are clear on what you want. Just be patient. You're good at manifesting this month. So can you find someone? Yes. But I see one initial challenge if they're not a Capricorn. It just is something needs to come to the surface, so take your time getting to know them. For those that are single and happy, it's actually ideal for you. You can focus on personal development. That's really the main thing coming through here with the Three of Pentacles and the Sun. A chance to try something completely new that you haven't done before. You could open a door that you didn't think you could before. You're untethered, so there's a lot of options here. And that's what I see. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to your destiny card. We got two for this, both of them reverse, but let's chat here. We have the Fire Guardian, igniting your passion. And then beneath that, we have the Traveler, moving in a new direction. I've been talking a lot about the Six of Swords. So the movement, I think, is so key. Know where you want to go, know why you want to go, and don't feel like you have to defend yourself once you've made that decision. Focus on what makes you feel passionate in your life. And if you're bored or if you've been doing the same old, the way to break through the devil energy is to change it up and say, I see myself in this capacity, in this area, and really allow this to be a genesis or rebirth period for you. Let's go ahead now and take a look specifically at sun, rising, and moon messages and see what additional insights we can get. Sun, rising, and moon. We have beautiful energy on all three. Starting off with sun sign messages, it is the antithesis and it is the elevated version of the devil. So the lovers are basically coming through saying, yes, unconditional love, joy, happiness, all the things that you're seeking. The card is in the reverse state. Don't accept less than the best. This is the authenticity piece that I was picking up on, the real McCoy. So when it comes to whatever it is that you're trying to manifest in jobs, in relationships, in your own personal development, it's got to be real. It's got to feel right. All right. I love that we have this little egg coming through. Again, there's a potential to birth, rebirth, or see something really exciting happen in this period. I think there was also, oh yeah, we have Cupid and his bow here. Really being targeted on focusing on what matters most. You are Cupid as well. So be very, very clear on and focused on what you're trying to accomplish. The Lover's card in reverse can also indicate sometimes feeling uncomfortable with the spotlight, wondering, am I worth it? Yes, you're worth it. The card wouldn't come through if not. The only thing that I want you to be kind of mindful of is if something isn't good enough for you, you don't have to accept it. So push back on anything that doesn't feel like it's right, or if you don't feel like you're ready, slow and steady, one step at a time. Don't be rushed, don't be pushed. This is one of the biggest magnet cards. If you're looking for love, it can be love, but everybody else, this means that you can call in the opportunity that you seek and that people are kind of rallying around you and they want to kind of understand. They want more of what you have to offer. So it's a really good card. In rising and ascendant, we have the Hierophant. One of the things that your sign does a great job of is getting organized and creating systems and structures. So for those of you especially that are focusing on a new business or just really where to excel this month, it's in creating something, building something from the ground up. You don't have to do it alone, remember that. I love, let's just take the graphic off. He's holding a skeleton key. Remember when I said you are the key? You are the key. He also has a little baby on his shirt, which I love as well. So there is the capacity to open something up, to reinvent yourself, to be really structured in the process, and you've got what it takes this month, okay? This is a really good card. I also love it when we have a young Hierophant. The Lightseers deck has a really young person as well. And I'm trying to think, there's at least one other that has like a little kid on this. So age doesn't matter. You can be old and use all of your experience. You can be young and have just insight beyond your years. It's never too late. It's never too early to do what you want, to open the door that you want. I mentioned the Ace of Swords was like a skeleton key. It certainly is here. And you're going to lead with your communication. Look at that crown on the top here. So really lean into it. You've got what it takes this month to succeed. Also, it's about time that people respect and understand and embrace your knowledge and your wisdom. And if you're not seeing it where you're at, look elsewhere, okay? Now, as we look at moon sign messages, we have the star card in the upright position, and the message here is loud and clear. You are the source. Be the source of your inspiration. Be the leader. Be the one leading the charge. And if things are foggy, dusty, a little bit out there, you're the one that's going to bring the light and create some order. It's very much like the Hierophant that we were just talking about, but even brighter than that. So think of how our particular solar system began. A big old cloud of dust. And then at the center, this gigantic star formed. Everything around it started to swirl, and we had this accretion disk, and then all the planets, moons, and everything else started to take shape. But that light had to happen first. It was the gravity, it was the source, it was the conductor. You are the star. Like the sun, you have to bring some order to disorder. You have to lead even if there's chaos. So there is a leadership opportunity opening up. And that's how I'm reading this particular star, especially as I see everything swirling around it. So you're going to have to bring some order to stuff. And even before things get clear, you have to have the clarity. People read off of you, your preparedness, your sort of trust and hope and clarity and faith, okay? So all of that matters this month. Get clear, and others will then follow. A big message there with that, but an exciting one. Let's go ahead now and take a look at one more question that you might have for me. So in this final card or final question, you get a chance to ask the universe, whatever it is that you haven't yet had clarity or don't have clarity on right now. So let me shuffle the cards and let's see what Spirit has to say with your final question. All right, we have the Knight or the Prince of Swords in the reverse state. Slow down. Really get a clear indication of why you're on the path that you're on, and ask yourself if it is what feels right to you. Ask others what they want as well. Slow down, talk, listen. And if you need to, you can change course. The Knight of Swords in reverse is really making sure that they're in agreement with the path in front of them and that there's no unanswered questions. Once again, just like the Queen of Swords in reverse, if you need to speak up, if you need to ask a question, ask. Now, if you asked me a yes or no, it's a delay card. It's saying not yet. First, ask the questions. First, do the soul seeking. First, look around you. Once you've done all of that in 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks, then you can make your decision. So it's a little premature. But typically, if it were upright, I would say, yes, you're on the right path. There's some sort of internal hesitation or lack of clarity. Once you're clear, you can move forward. And that's pretty much all that I have to say on that. I hope that helped you. All right, if you enjoyed today's reading, please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you're brand new. That way you can check out all of my monthly, daily, and weekly readings, plus the special topics that I do from month to month. Give me a follow on social media as well. That way you will be kept in the know whenever there's newsworthy posts. Or again, if you miss something here on YouTube, it's a great way to make sure that you're able to click through and see the content. A reminder, since we talked about authenticity, I do not give private readings and I don't use direct messages. There are some people that pretend to be me that aren't me out there. So if you see them, block, report, and then leave a comment so that I can also put a report in. You can always go to my website if you want to make absolutely sure that you're clicking on the right links and you know who's who. Also, if you want to give back, it's always optional and you can always do it through official channels here. And this includes super stickers, super thanks, super chat, also memberships, which by the way, I'll be doing more with that in the upcoming months. So it's a great way to give back on a monthly basis if you'd like to. My posting schedule is listed below. I do daily 1-card readings for 1 minute. So it's a great way to get a pulse on what today has to offer. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. And then on Sundays around 9:15 a.m. Pacific time, I do a weekly collective where you get a chance to vote for the topic and we look at the 7-day forecast. So if you haven't checked it out already, it's on my main channel page. First video always featured there. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being present. Wishing you all the best here in the month ahead. Thank you for choosing to be with me for the last 45 or 50 minutes. I know you have a lot of choices here, so it means a lot that you spend some time with me. Until I see you again, wishing you all the best.